All right, now our next speaker is Trav Robertson. He's an Anderson native, and he's one of the most seasoned and consistently successful political operatives in the Southeast. He's helped many, many Democrats win campaigns. Trav's been state party chair back here in South Carolina since 2015. He has increased Democratic voter turnout, and he's implemented innovative strategies to get Democrats elected. He really helped me a whole lot in my campaign in 2018 for South Carolina State House. But while I was not successful, I showed that you can really increase the number of people who cross over and vote Democratic in a state house race, and those same techniques can work to win the state Senate back. So I really appreciate what Trav was able to do for me. And let me just put in a plug right now for running for office, even in a red county. When you do it, you change the agenda. The guy I ran against has now reversed his position to positions which are more compatible with what I was putting into my campaign on solar energy. He totally reversed on solar energy. He also came out and said that he now thought it was a good idea to have removed the Confederate flag from the State House grounds, even though he was one of the few people who voted against it in committee, and then got in the car and came back to Seneca and did not vote to remove that flag, rather than have that on his record. That's what running for office as a Democrat can do, even in a red county. So you want to run for office, we'll help you. So back to Trav. As you can see, he inspired me. I know that he's going to motivate and inspire you today with his passion and his vision. So here's Trav Robertson.
Madam Chairwoman, thank you very much. It is somewhat interesting to try and do this from afar. First of all, as you mentioned, I'm from Anderson, so I really miss being up there and not getting my deviled eggs and my potato salad as we sit in the heat looking over the lake. I want to thank all of you for spending some time today. You know, Jamie Harrison got on here and he lauded some positive things my way. And I just want to say this, is that when Jamie started running for the U.S. Senate, we never in a million years thought he would raise the money that he was raising. And I don't want anyone to think for a moment that I am responsible for the financial prowess of the party right now in hiring a field staff and an organization that helps Eunice get elected, or Hosea get elected, or our local candidates get elected. Is Jamie committing, saying, you know what, we're going to use this amount of money for the state party, and it's going to be used for a field organization, and that's going to help local candidates. Right now, we're in the process of trying to put a digital field organizer in every single county. The state party has more staff now than we have ever had in the history of the Democratic Party in this state, and that's a positive thing. I can't sit here and tell you it's what necessarily I dreamt of, to the extent that I'm a field guy. I'm used to going door to door in the heat. It's not necessarily a digital program, but that's the world in which we live, and it is something that we have tried to adjust to. Just recently, we've made over, I think that there were 600,000 numbers and text messages that we were trying to get through to change our modeling and whatnot that affects candidates, and we've done that. There are 1,700, 1,800 people that are scheduled today and tomorrow to go through and do digital organizing in South Carolina. But there were some questions that were asked of Jamie Harrison, and you know, Jamie's got the luxury of being the politician. I've got the opportunity of being the campaign guy. And I want to talk to you about 2018. You know, Jody was on the ballot in 2018. She put up a hell of a fight. And one of the things that we did, most people aren't talking about. We had the highest turnout in the history of midterms in South Carolina. 1.7,200,000 people voted. Of that, we were 46,000 votes shy of having 1 million women cast ballots. 200,000 more women than men voted. I believe that number is going to be about 400,000 more women this election cycle. Coupled with the fact that we had almost 32% more non-white sporadic voters participate in a midterm election than we did in 2014. So 61% of the electorate, 1.1 to 1.2 million people, of that 1.7 million turnout were women and or people of color. The other significant indicator in this state is that we now have over 1 million registered non-white voters. 30 to 31% of the registered voters in South Carolina are people of color. That's something that no one ever anticipated in this state, at least in my short political life, and it gives us an opportunity. We have to take advantage of it. But I can tell you what really helps Jamie Harrison is when we get out there and we go in Eunice's district, which is a changing district, and we go door to door. We do what we can do, being responsible in the world of COVID-19 to help Eunice get elected, because that district, when it goes for her, it helps Jamie Harrison get elected. And I can tell you this, you know, I hate to give Steve Sperry credit for something, because anybody that wears a Syracuse hat down to Columbia should not be given credit for much of anything. But he overlaid some statistics from the 2016 or 17 primaries in Virginia and Alabama over into maps. And it showed the voting habits of women who might be Republicans on their face, but could be motivated to vote by health care alone. And it really changed 25 years of thinking in my brain as to what I knew about South Carolina. And most importantly, it really thrust me outside the box to try and figure out some ways in which we could win. Oconee County, as I said, when you had 300 people in a room in a convention not too terribly long ago, plays a critical component to Jamie Harrison's winning. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to win Oconee County tomorrow. You all on this Zoom call or Facebook Live would call me a liar, and you would be right to do so. But what I can tell you is that the work that has occurred over the last 3.5 to 4 years is slowly changing the way we campaign in Oconee County, and it's also changing the candidates that we recruit, and it's changing the minds of people there. We don't have to win Oconee County in order to get Jamie Harrison elected. We just have to change the margin by which we lose in order to get it elected. Now, listen, I'm from the upstate. I'm not sitting here telling you to give up on Oconee County, because I'm never, ever, as Jody will tell you, I'm never going to give up on Oconee County. I'm not going to give up on Pickens. I'm not going to give up on Anderson or Greenville. But we have to be surgical and intelligent in order to get us to the next level to help us change the entire process. And what I mean, I like to use the analogy of brain surgery. God forbid if Steve has a tumor, he doesn't want me cutting his head open, rooting around in there. He wants a surgeon with a godlike complex to go in, excise the tumor, close it up, and get out with the least amount of damage as possible. And that's what campaigning in Anderson, Oconee, and Pickens and Greenville is like. There are voters who will vote for us. It's not a shotgun approach. It is a surgical approach. It is a tactical approach. But most importantly, it's an important approach. I don't want anybody to think that Oconee's not important. It is. One day we're going to change everybody's opinions in Oconee County. But until we get to that point, that precipice, we have to focus on the incremental changes and cutting our margin of loss in order to win statewide. Lindsey Graham's in trouble. Now, I'm probably not supposed to say this, which means I'll get in trouble, which is a daily occurrence for me. I've got Crystal Spain, who tells me what I can and can't do on a daily basis. Jay Parmley tells me that I can't do this, I can't do that on a daily basis. But there was a poll recently done in South Carolina. It wasn't done, it's not associated with Jamie's campaign. It's by a group, Anzalone Group, which is based out of Alabama. And that polling says that head to head, if the election were held today, it's a 4-point difference between Lindsey and Jamie. But when you take all of Lindsey Graham's positives and all of Jamie's positives, and then all of Lindsey Graham's negatives and all of Jamie's negatives, Jamie wins by 1 percentage point. Now, I am an accidental party chairman. I've spent my life running campaigns in South Carolina. I don't recall the last time I've ever seen any type of polling that indicates the Democrat running for the United States Senate is 1 point over a Republican. You all know Oconee. You know Pickens. You know northern Greenville. You know that northern tip of Anderson. We know the people there. We know the people we can convince. We know the people that want to vote with us, but they don't want to talk about it. And we know the Democrats there. When you see Lindsey Graham or you see Mike Pence come to Horry County or Charleston County or Beaufort County, instead of coming to Pickens and Oconee and Greenville, there's a very clear message that is being sent. And that message is to people like me who spent our lives studying this, is that they're losing voters in their base, in their hometown, in their home counties. And they've got to go to another place to figure out how to make up those voters. And I use James Smith as an example of that. In 2018, for whatever you think of that campaign, James Smith lost Greenville County by 28,000 votes. Now, normally a Democrat would lose that by 30 or 40, 48,000 votes. We know that there are 40,000 unregistered people of color there. We also know that 38,000 non-white voters chose not to vote. You take those and you combine them and you lose Greenville by 5,000 votes by cutting our margin in Pickens and Oconee County. We've just elected a United States Senator, and that changes the entire gambit. But like I said, at the end of the day, if you really want to help Jamie Harrison, we've got to get out and help Eunice. She's got an opportunity. That district is changed because of where it is, and that race is a critical race. Just like I believe then and I believe now that Jody's race was a critical race. We had to have someone running. We had to have a good fight. And at the end of the day, it gives us now, Mr. Honeycutt, a new type of data metric by which we can help folks like you get elected. And that is what I'm here to say tonight. I'm here to say thank you, Madam Chair, for what you do. And believe me, if any of you don't think that Jody keeps my ass to the ground, I can promise you it's all, as on the executive council, as a chairwoman, She's on it all day long. And with that, Madam Chair, I will stand for questions or whatever you tell me to do.
Well, we didn't do any questions ahead of time for you.
That's all right.
So I think we're going to close.
Fantastic. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you all soon.
All right. Thank you.